There's no our love and gratitude.
Yeah. It's their prize.
We got our handing out so much stuff.
Right? I feel like Oprah today. I can take notes. Okay, thank you so much.
So then I'm gonna get speaking the annual meeting, right?
Yes. So there's a couple things we're gonna, Mayor Girl, so we're a little bit disjointed in this meeting because we did not actually get the space, most of our space until this afternoon. So Mayor Girl's gonna step out here pretty soon to like go set registration, help get that going. But there were a couple annual meeting things that we wanted to run through while we have her here. And kind of set the stage for the week, the weekend.
Okay, so how we got here, as Michelle said, we have a little bit of a stopgap with another conference leaving and us coming in. So thank y'all for a little bit of the confusion as there were other folks in the hallway, but super nice. The county judges and county commissioners were actually really interested to talk to some of the master naturalists at the restaurant yesterday. So it actually worked out in our favor to be partnered up with them for a little bit. Okay, so we always like to have by the numbers for the annual meeting. We have a total of 636 total registrants. We did announce this earlier at the last president's meeting, but this year y'all weren't ready. We had 130 registrants in the first hour, and then we had 382 in the first day, which is a record breaker for us. We have 110 total presenters at this meeting with 14 different classroom spaces and 2 days full of 8 hours of sessions. We have a lot going on throughout the entire conference. There are 44 chapters in attendance. That is 90% of our chapters are here physically, represented either by leaders, members, advisors, somebody from their chapter here. You can also see the agenda stats. We like numbers. 143 classroom sessions, 34 field sessions. If you've already been on a field session, raise your hand. I know there's a few of y'all. Yeah, that's the benefit of coming in early is you get to go to all the cool field sessions. And then 216 speakers, independent from those that are registered. We have 20 vendors coming in over the next couple of days. They'll be in the Spring Lake Ballroom, which you passed when you were walking down the long hallway. So the Spring Lake Ballroom is going to be to the left as you're leaving the Starbucks. Coming this way, it's to your left there. They're going to be setting up here this afternoon. We have 29 sponsors. Many of you are chapters or sponsors for the conference. We thank you. We'll have your recognition throughout the meeting on signage, on rolling PowerPoints. Really, it takes a whole village to put this conference together. So we really appreciate all of our sponsors for this year's event. And then another record-breaking year, we had 499 photo, art, and media contest entries. That's incredible. The volunteers from, I didn't have this in my notes, Hayes, Lindheimer, and Guadalupe, I believe, were the three counties, 3 chapters that had volunteers helping with the photo, art, media contest. And Las Pines as well, thank you. Yeah, I need notes. And y'all too. 499 entries to go through, to sort, to review, to put into the right categories. A huge thank you for y'all putting that together. I didn't say thank you earlier about the field sessions, but I should have. 43 field sessions is the most, 34 field sessions is the most we have ever had. And it's because this area is so diverse. There's so much for us to do, so much for us to see. You go west and you've got a totally different ecosystem than you've got to the east, to the north, and to the south. There's so much to do here. So really, first and foremost, thank you, Bob and Hayes County Chapter for welcoming us into your community. That deserves a round of applause. Thank you to all of the local chapters who pitched in from day one on inviting speakers, those 200 plus speakers, inviting us to these 34 field sessions, bringing in support with vendors and so much more to this conference. The silent auction is being run by the Hayes County chapter. It is, again, it's a team that puts something like this together. And then you can see our 6 video entries, 5 project fair entries, which we all got to watch on the TMN Tuesday. Was that 2 weeks ago now? Was phenomenal as well. And 3 advisor entries that we'll announce on Saturday. Okay, so we have tried to put this in every single email on the website. It is also on, it's also on the app as well, but our Apple Store and our Google Play QR codes are there on the screen. If you don't have the app yet, you need the CVent, you need 2 apps this year. The CVent Events app is your agenda. That's where you find out where sessions are, what times they're at, who's the speaker. Many of our speakers are putting their PowerPoints or their notes onto the CVent Events app, so you can access those for more reading before or after the sessions. The CVent Events app is where you can find who from your chapter is here. You can search participants. There's also a little game in the CVent Events app if you're competitive. I think, Sam, you were the winner last year on the event app, so you have the jump prize. No prize, no. But it's just fun. It's a way to engage in the CVent Events app. The second app that we're using this year is the Slack app. Our Slack app is a discussion board. This is the way that you communicate with other attendees. If you were an attendee for a field session, you were invited to a private channel for a Slack channel, a private Slack channel that allows you to, hey, can I get a who's carpooling? Where are we going? What are the directions? What do I need to bring? Otherwise, there are some open channels on the Slack app, or I saw somebody ask for a honky tonk suggestion for anything later. So if you have the energy for that, feel free to check that out on the Slack. But Slack is also a way for us to share, for y'all to share pictures with us. So Hannah will be watching the Slack channels. So put your pictures up, share what you're doing. Your field sessions, your classrooms, help us to promote the event by knowing what's going on and sharing some photos there.
And if you go on a field session, put it in that field session. If you go on a field session, put your photos in that field session Slack, just so I can make sure you have all the right photos from the right places. And please share them, because they're going to go on socials and emails and all the fun things. So don't forget to share your photos. Don't forget to take photos as the week goes on, and get them on Slack. We're on socials and use our hashtags.
Okay. And then last but not least, our agenda app. If you're not an apper and you just want an old school website that you can go to, our agenda is still on the website. We have that link directly from our main page. We've shared this before. You guys are about to experience this and live this, but we have sessions throughout the next 3 days, 4 days. We will open registration, some of the highlights for y'all to help us communicate with your members that are here. Highlights, registration will open at 2. So I know there's a little bit of some pre-event stuff and folks are like, do I need my badge right now? No. We'll get there. Registration opens at 2. If you've got folks that are going straight from a field session this afternoon to the Meadow Center dinner, they can get their badge in the morning. That's not a problem at all. So let's talk about Meadow Center. I think that's the next one. Let's walk back to the next one. So Meadow Center, we're having a welcome dinner tonight at the Meadow Center for the water and the environment. It's a fantastic facility. It's the old Aquarina Springs where they had the mermaids. And we will have a chance to be on Black Hawk boat tours, go on the wetlands boardwalk. Sam's going to have his mopping station there. We're going to have Chewy's tacos, our enchiladas. Rough House Brewery is gonna have a cash bar available with the master naturalist, owned and operated business. For your members that are here, we will have a series of buses shuttling folks starting at 4 o'clock outside of the glass doors here at the front of the conference center. Not the hotel side, the conference center side. It'll take a couple of series of buses to get everybody over there. Don't worry, we'll get everybody over there. Encourage your members to be on the buses. There's very limited parking, like 20 or 30 parking spots, period. For 600 of us, get everybody on the bus.
And buses will continue.
Buses will continue to run. the
Unlike
entire-
last year.
Yes, yes, buses will continue to run all the way from 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. So, if you're a little late, just, we'll get you there, don't worry.
So,
Yeah,
You might then want to point out, this is 9 PM, the buses depart.
buses will start departing at 9 o'clock. We have to be totally off property by 10 o'clock. So I put that as like a, let's hurry it.
Says they're gonna run one way.
They'll continue to run the shuttle all the way.
I go home at 8:30.
You can go at home at 8:30 if you need to get in bed by 8:30. We need you to have your sleep so you're not grumpy.
and so we're talking a lot about the annual meeting stuff right now and some of the details of it, but what our ask to y'all in telling you all this is that these are the questions that we're getting from all of your members who are here also, registrants. If you can help relay these details and information to the registrants or your members that you know are here too. So that's another reason we're kind of sharing all this stuff right now, is you can help us communicate that out.
Yeah. Some other things about the Meadow Center, the lighting is going to be in certain parts. So if you're worried about your accessibility on some of the paths, bring a little flashlight or make sure that your cell phone is charged up so that you can use your flashlight on your phone. They were letting us know that some of the trails, especially when it gets late, get dark. We'll have lights under the main pavilion. We'll have lights under the main tent. We'll have lights over by the golfing station. But if you're an off-roader and you want to go off trail, or not off trail, but if you want to go further down on the trail later at night, just know that, keep that in mind. The Meadow Center reminded us about that. Any other questions on the Meadow Center event? No, it's gonna be fun.
What did you say the time of going to the center was?
Buses are gonna start running at 4 o'clock.
And then
They're just gonna keep running. Yes, sir. Yep. Okay, going back here. So when we get back, we go to sleep Thursday night and then we get up and we do it all over again. Friday is full sessions. We have, we'll have breakfast in here starting at 7. We'll have, Linda Jo has to eye that real fast. Thank you.
I can't miss it.
Where was I at? Breakfast will be in here at 6, and then sessions start at 8 a.m. And then we'll have lunch at 12:30. We'll have dinner tomorrow night. All will be in this main ballroom. And sessions are all the way around the perimeter of this hallway here. That is going to be the same both Friday and Saturday. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner in this room. Sessions in all of the rooms that are along this long hallway here. An easy thing that the hotel told us is that bathrooms are in the corners. There's a bathroom in that corner, there's a bathroom in that corner, there's a bathroom in that corner. So that was kind of a nice way to remember where the restrooms are. Yeah.
Like breakfast and lunch buffet style.
Yes, breakfast and lunch is buffet style. Breakfast, there is no presentation, so it's come and go. You have all the way up until about 8 o'clock to eat breakfast. But lunch, we will start buffet at 12:30, and then we do have presentations during lunch each day. So get your lunch and then come on here. Great question. And then Saturday, we have quiz bowl in room A and B over here. And then we'll have our awards dinner Saturday night. Sunday, please stick around for Sunday. We'll have our contest awards starting at 8, right after breakfast concludes. And we've got some great things to talk about when we have our contest awards on Sunday. We'll also announce our recertification pin for 2025. So you have to stick around for Sunday to be there for that. Okay, one more announcement about timing for today. The Friends of TMN is gonna have a presentation in this room directly after our president's lunch here. So they're actually gonna run it twice. We'll have one at 2 and one at 4, one at 2 and one at 3. So, please stick around in this room and learn more about what the Friends of TMN group is doing. I'm gonna keep going. Yes, you guys. Okay, silent auction. So these are old times, but just kind of keeping y'all in the loop. Silent auction is gonna be in the Spring Lake Ballroom over here where the vendors are. They have item drop off today, anytime up until 4 or 5 o'clock. And they'll be open, starting at 2. And then they'll be open for, bids, throughout the day, Friday and Saturday, closing Saturday at 6 p.m. Photo art and media contest voting is open. We did send the links and the QR codes out in advance, but we'll also have these QR codes and signs posted in the hallway. So if you haven't voted yet, you can vote with those. Did you have a question in the back?
Where did you say the silent auction is gonna be? What rooms?
The silent auction is going to be in the Spring Lake Ballroom, which is the ballroom that you walk past on your left. And you walk down that first hallway. Here are our vendors. Like I said, we've got 20 vendors, 18 of which are gonna fit in the Spring Lake Ballroom, and then we'll have a few on the outside of Spring Lake Ballroom in the hallway. There's some great art vendors, some great resource vendors, some partners, some brand new names and faces in our vendor hallway. So I encourage you to check those folks out and see what they have to offer. And then again, thank you to our sponsors, for our chapter sponsors, for our partner sponsors, all of which who have made this event possible, helping us to provide resources to make this the best event that we can. I see in the naturalist sponsor line, the San Marcos Convention and Visitors Bureau was one of our naturalist sponsors. They're setting up a booth outside in the hallway with some great goodies and some maps of great local eateries and places to visit as well. So make sure that you check them out. And then Our Texas, Our Future, HEB, another one of our key sponsors this year as well. And then they're not set up yet, but I'm so excited, Mary, so excited for our centerpieces. Mary O'Hara. And then Carolyn Langlanay got together and have some fantastic centerpieces. There's a full description. We'll go through this tomorrow on our welcome presentation tomorrow evening. But once you guys see them, you'll get the boots on the ground reference. It's really clever. And so I can't wait for y'all to see those when they get unveiled. We're also setting up our timeline panels. Thank you for those that just walked up and said, how can I help? And help set up these panels. So we'll have our 25th anniversary timeline that did get updated as well. We'll have that set up in the hallway here shortly. Do you want to say anything about that? Okay. And then native plants. So this is the end of the conference notice, but giving y'all a little sneak preview. We've got some great native plants from the AGB's new Our Texas, Our Future program. They're scattered around. We'll be using them to decorate tables and the stage. And then we will be putting these on sale for at-will donation at the end of the conference. So some great ways to take some parts of the conference home for you. And again, we'll share that information more throughout the conference as well. Swap shop, Michelle's talked about. We've given away some of that stuff already. We've got stuff. If you brought stuff to put on the swap shop tables, they're going to be over in the corner of the hallway here. You're welcome to drop stuff there to get rid of. Again, swap shop is a great way to help cleanse offices, but also to trade with other master naturalist things that you're no longer engaging with, and anything another master naturalist chapter may want to engage with.
Say one more thing about Swap Shop. So one more thing about Swap Shop. I want to make sure, not all chapters want project signs. If you're a chapter that wants more project signs to take home, please do so. I want to get these to chapters to make use of back on their projects at home. So if you, at the end of this meeting, you come up and get more. And then I still have other stuff that I'll be putting out
I
on
do
the Stop Shop table throughout the weekend.
I do too. Lots of stuff. And then pop-up store, thank y'all for those that bought some cool annual meeting t-shirts at our pop-up store. We did have an overstock of those. I think there's only about 20 or 30 of them, so it's not very many, but we brought those extras with us, and so we'll have those at the registration desk for y'all to purchase if you missed your chance in purchasing those. Okay, and so that is the wrap of annual meeting items. Are there any questions about this week's event, this weekend's event, or the annual meeting? Yes, ma'am.
There's swap shop setting up.
Swap shop. So if you're looking at the registration desk, it's gonna be there. Yes, ma'am. We'll have signage. Nothing set up there. That's what I'm gonna go do here in a second. Okay, let me go back around the slide.
Okay, now for the rest of our meeting. We've got lots of stuff for you. We realized this is our last meeting in this format with you this year. Our other two meetings with you for this year are combined, TMN Tuesdays. So we won't have like this intimate sharing of information on those in November and December. So this is a combined meeting. So we've got a lot to get through today. And yeah, get going.
Do you have the clicker? I think it's the clicker. Okay. I left it. I think it's
Okay.
hold on. You're good. Right now.
Thank you. So here's our week long agenda. So I'm going to go through those. So first thing we want to do is introduce our newest additions to the program staff, Christian and Hannah.
No.
Okay. So, both of these student program days just joined us a couple weeks ago, actually. 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. So we loved breaking in and doing tasks through the email meeting. So they were already all those expectations.
Absolutely.
So, John, you
It's exciting. I'm Mr. Volkis. I am the senior at TMN. Yeah, I'm interested in your interventions, so you can really get more information and super excited to be here at the all. I've been kind of doing some behind the scenes stuff like the social media contest, seeing like the stuff going, so it's cool to like put faces today.
Hello, Martin. I'm a graduate student in the art and department at TMN. We're undergrad in coastal environmental science at Galveston, and as student programming, I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and it's been really, really exciting, and I'm so excited to meet a lot more of you. So yeah, thank you. And I'm getting that stuff ready for more use by the program. And then Hannah is working on our conflict experiences project. So you'll hear more about that this week. When you in our a bunch of all this stuff, so if there's any chapters here that did not get, you checked in project signs, the 25th anniversary reports, every chapter should get 2. I also have a couple extra left here, so those are more things that you can pick up. Pick up a couple
one or two more to take home. Those are, so we have the online anniversary report, but we went ahead and got about 100 something, printed so that you can have them at your local chapter level. Please share them with your county commissioners, your partners at your local chapter level, and then, with your chapter too, if they haven't already seen it. So we'd love for you to be able to pass that around at your next meeting and your November and December meetings, as a celebration of the year and the 25th anniversary. I gave up my special spot shop items already. And then some chapters had there were other packages of awards that chapters had. I still have Rio Grande Valley if they recently stepped in the room. And then, swap shop items, throughout the weekend, there'll be other swap shop items. If you are a chapter that took advantage of the bulk order curriculum, that will be available for pickup later today and more likely tomorrow and throughout the weekend. At the University Press, that will be in the Spring Lake Ballroom. And then be sure to check out our silent auction and bid on anything you like, and then if you win it, you take it home. And then the native plants. So we talked about the native plants being available. We'll have a lot of those Saturday evening if you want to pick those up, and then Sunday with whatever is left over. Okay. For Texas project, this just sent information out, made a big splash with information on the 15th of October. So it's been out there just a little over a week. This is our big new project being sponsored by HEP, our Texas Heart Future. And it's that grants, it's the grant program that chapter award program, that HEB has sponsored. And the idea is to have a big impact on pollinator habitat within your communities. And we officially launched for 15. Your chapters could get a project award of up to $3,000. Chapters can kind of go in together on opportunities as well, so think regional. The idea behind these project awards is to be able to make a large scale impact on pollinator habitat. The deadline for those applications, so the application process is open. It opened with the launch on October 15th. The deadline for the application is November 30th. We will have a webinar to give an overview of the application process, answer some of the frequently asked questions. That is scheduled for November 4th. And so we will have much more information that will go out about that after this annual meeting. You'll be hearing more tomorrow. Our partners from HED will be coming to talk a little bit more about the project and share in the great partnership that we just established through this project. So very exciting. We can't wait to see what you as chapters come up with this next project. So that's the really exciting part. Okay. Yeah.
So just as a reminder, again, we have launched that chapter templates and resources page. You should have gotten an email with, it's a password protected page. You should have gotten an email with that password. And I know some of you were having issues getting the password to work. I worked with IT, I got it fixed. So if I didn't respond to your email saying, hey, the password isn't working, just know it should be working out. If you're still having problems, of course, still email me. But we've added new things since it is launched. If you have any suggestions or ideas, feel free to email them to me and we'll see about getting them added as well. We have some that you just download and use right away. Some are Canva templates, and there's instructions on where you can find tutorials on there as well. Also, we have a form to streamline the process of requesting your chapter mark or the TMN logo. And a lot of you have already used that, and I haven't responded yet. That is my first task after this annual meeting. So you will be getting those emails shortly with your chapter marks. And that's all at the bottom of the page, and just to help kind of streamline that process of getting you those resources.
There.
And then, of course, just a general reminder for the logo, any merchandise or materials that you put the logo on, you need to send me a proof of it so that I can approve it. Our logo is trademarked, so it needs to go through that approval process. And just a reminder that this is to keep cohesive branding across the state. It's very important for that name recognition, that brand recognition across the state. So email those to me as well, and I try to respond as quickly as possible. If you don't get a response as quickly as you need, feel free to send me a second ping. I get a lot of emails, so sometimes it gets buried, so feel free to pester a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. But those will go through me, and then just a reminder that chapter logos are prohibited, chapter marks are not. And the chapter mark is the trademark Texas Master Naturalist logo with your chapter name in one of these three formats. And again, if you need help creating that, fill out that form on that chapter resources page, and I will get that to you. Okay.
Okay, so actually about the Master Naturalist title, and this remains to be something that we hope you will continue to communicate with membership on. The Master Naturalist title, your chapter name, in your program or chapter membership should never be used in connection with advocacy or to invoke policy of any kind. Never. The Master Naturalist title and certification should never be used for personal gain or profit. Remember, as Hannah just said, that they are the logo, trademark, they have the logo. You just covered it. And then public comment. Public comment should only be made as a private citizen. Your Master Naturalist title should never be associated with your public comments. So just, these are all in our mind. They've always been that way. Continue to remain diligent to keep the logo, the title, and the reputation of the Master Naturalist program on even keel.
Okay, once again, thank you for filling out that training class survey. I know some of you might be registered for the presentation that I'll be giving on it at this conference. And then just a reminder for anyone who you know who wanted to be there or wanted to be here and isn't, we will be giving the presentation again in a remote format. That time and date is TBD. We'll announce it once we have it scheduled, but just know that this is just the precursor. There will also be another presentation for that. And then also for that speaker master list survey, once again, thank you for that. It is organized and live meaning it now lives in our documents database. And so if you ever need, hey, I need a speaker for ornithology, I need someone new, you can email me and I will go through that database and send you some options with their contact info. So if you need a new speaker, to refresh the speakers, anything like that, email me and I will get that information to you. And if you have more speakers that you didn't get in that initial survey you'd like to add, email me that as well, and I can get those added to our database. And just a reminder, we also are adding our 2025 new training class info to the website. You can go to that link. It's also on the page of the website, so you can click that. And it's a form, you will fill out your class information, and I will get that added. This is another thing that I have a backlog of that will get updated after the annual meeting. So if the star is in purple, that means I've seen it come in, I've seen the form, and it will go live after the annual meeting. I'll get it added to that website. And the pink stars are the ones that are already out there, so don't worry. All the names are the chapters that we have information from right now. So if you don't see your name up there, if you want to take your training class on the website, go to that link and fill out that.
We've talked about those celebrating a chapter anniversary over the past year a couple different times. If you're a chapter celebrating an anniversary this year, raise your hand. So how have you celebrated, or in the next 2 months, how will you celebrate? I'm gonna go with my niece. Tell us how you celebrated.
We celebrated back in May. Yeah, we celebrated back in May. We went to the Travis Orderman Baby Sanctuary, which is just north of Boston. And we had our membership there. We did hikes. We had food. We had a speaker. We had a good time.
Put another chapter celebrated and I'm accepted. Hi.
I'd do Michelle, but I bet you a lot more. So I'm in the Elmport chapter in White County. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary this year, and we've been celebrating all year. So a few of the things that we've done is newsletter, our traditional newsletter format. We turned it into one that you can stream, an audio newsletter on the go called Stream, and that's going to go away to a podcast as well. We've done some other cool things, but we're celebrating. Hannah's actually going to join us in December. One of the things that our in-person celebration, we've asked for nominations for community partners and folks we work with throughout our 3-county area. And so we're going to be acknowledging and recognizing 12 community partners there. And we've had some proclamations for the cities, for the counties. And I feel like there's so much more, but that's probably enough, and I'll sit down and let you go.
Like December something, right? So let me know where I can.
So we just changed our venue to allow for the technology for you to zoom in.
Okay. Yeah.
This is Walter, the Coastal Prairie chapter. We're celebrating our 20th. We're not doing that. We have special logo that we're putting on our newsletter and all of our media posts. We're having a combination holiday party and a birthday party in December. But we've been talking about it all year, but this is not nearly as special as some of you guys are making.
I want to share. Okay. So these are the chapters that are celebrating this year. We're going to look at next year, and we've got a slew of chapters that are celebrating big anniversaries next year. So South Texas Border celebrating their 10th anniversary, 15th anniversary is Central Texas, Goodwater, Indian Trail, Diamond Lakes. 20th anniversary is Brazos Valley, Gideon, Mexico, River Process, and Tierra Grande. And the 25th anniversary is East Texas, Schindheimer, Lost Pines, and Big Coast. 16 chapters celebrating something next year. So you've heard a little bit about chapters have used this year to celebrate their anniversary. Like I mentioned this because I want you to be able to think about this for your chapter in the upcoming year. How do you celebrate? How do you make it special? Or something else.
So sorry. One thing I wanted to share for everybody is that we're having a silent auction in conjunction with our celebration. And the proceeds from our silent auction are going to be donated to the TMN endowment fund.
Come on. Okay. So, like next year, something really big for next year, all of those chapters celebrate. Okay. Just a reminder that this year we moved the majority of the pins and at the Edgar Life Learn bookstore, Edgar Life Learn store. Your chapter needed just, it has to be set up an entitlement to be able to order these things because it's under a protected area. So if you're a chapter that the directions are on the website, if you need them again, we can send them to you again. If you're getting ready for holiday recognition and things coming up, and you need those pins, you would need to get entitled and set up in the system to be able to order those. Did you have something you wanted to say on that? Okay. 4,000 hours and above, that's your fee. And is that, we had, so the customer volunteer service awards that go with the 4,000 hour award, those were on back order for a long time, through this summer. And so a lot of those just came back in stock, and I made the order, every the peer packages today are, those that were on back order. I brought them to you instead of sending them to you, and then those that were on back order, and they are here registered for the meeting, we will give them to them Saturday night. Recognize them on stage. And then everybody has picked up the care packages of those that had this compass that we were under ballot and will send yours to you. And then this was just we've been including this in all of our presentations each year. This is for each month. This is where you would order once you are a title chapter to order. Okay, then that brings us to TMN Tuesdays. I mentioned at the beginning of this meeting that this is really our kind of traditional president's meeting for 2024. The rest of our president's meetings are a combination president's meeting plus TMN Tuesday in November and December. So, same thing. November's TMN Tuesday is going to be chapter. So with our TMN Tuesdays, where we've had president's meetings plus TMN Tuesdays all this year, it just worked out that we have chapter showcases. And what we're showcasing in November are technical guidance projects that Nationals chapters do. And so, and the examples of how they do them. So Hilton Tree County chapter are presenting, South Texas chapter is presenting on their Blucher, did I say that? Blucher bunch. And then Black presenting Pinewood Lakes on their East Texas Conservation Expo, and then the El Camino Real chapter. So we have staff from Personale presenting on the private lands field that the El Camino Real chapter started, and they want to have examples. Personale would like to have examples of that take place in all of our chapters. So they'll be talking about that in small communities through that for your chapters at the local level. And then we're going to skip through a bunch of these because we covered them.
Okay. So this is just your monthly reminder that the website is kitchen sink for all the information that we have. If you have a question, the answer is most likely on the website, so that should be your and your membership's first resource to find that answer. We had a question recently about how can I get our members on the email listserv. There are instructions on the website under the chapter resources tab. So a lot of your questions will be answered here. Of course, if you don't find it, there, you email one of us. But make sure you and your membership always check here first. And also for webmasters, we have Tech Tuesday. The next one is November 5th at noon. If you have any questions for your chapter websites, always direct them to first call at ag.hamlin.edu. And those Tech Tuesdays are on the first Tuesday of every month. And that link that you see on the graphic
when you plug it into your browser, it'll automatically go into the meeting. So that's how you use it.
Okay. So, yeah, BMS. Just a report of BMS updates as a reminder, the master specialist TMN BMS is going through a big update. I've been kind of all year, and so I've been giving you kind of an update of what's been happening, which it hasn't been. But we'll give you a little bit of an update today. So this slide hasn't changed much. We, over the summer, your chapters have heard about, we've been updating with this process. We've been cleaning up, we've been asked to clean up some of the projects, some of the surveys, some of our logins. And with the updated project, we have updated some of the TMN certification status fields. We sent that out in May to BMS admins. One of the updates that has taken place is that admins can no longer, the add and delete button were removed. Samaritan, the system moved from a 30-minute lockout to a 15-minute lockout. So if you're in the system and you're not using it, have to use it 15 minutes, it'll automatically auto log out. We've cleaned up our roles, created and ready it for the move consolidation, so that stuff is ready. It's ready to be moved. We're just waiting on the next part of the process. So a single sign-on, I think this is only going to really affect agency employees who have access to the system. It is prepped. But it's not functioning yet. And I don't think peers managing the system are going to have to use that. We've had some updates because we're not really positive on when the new system will go live or be launched. But we haven't been given any. We have this training that our team has been doing. And so because we're expecting that the training will be updated with the new system, so we just haven't been doing training for a while, plus one of our trainers has been sick. So it kind of just all collided at once, and this is the decision that we made. If you have a future BMS admin and need to have some additional help, we can do emergency training. So just if that does happen, with a couple of our chapters, we know that is available to do. We do emergency training to get someone trained and ready to be managing your system locally. And still, change for the member reporting experience. For reporting our service, nothing there has changed yet. And we don't expect that to change a whole lot, even with the new system. Sorry. Okay. So everything in the slide is an update. I've been talking about what's next with our VMS. And I'm just going to hit the highlights of the update here. So it's looking like they're not going to implement VMS until the new year. So we met with the company last week. They were talking about some trainings for our staff and our VMS admins, our state administrative team. That's going to happen in December. And then right before everyone's on vacation for the holidays. So we're not that time. In my mind, like, I'm not on vacation. So it's looking like the first of the year is when the new things will be implemented. So like I mentioned, we're at some training for our administrative team in December. The TMN BMS administrative team, we recognize that this is going to be a big effort to get all of our BMS admins. We have 200 admins at chapter level. It's going to be a big effort to get people trained and get this rolled out. So we have brought on a team, we're bringing on a team of an additional about 6 people to help with the training, and the rollout in the new year. So they're going to be joining our team in November to kind of get on board and get trained up and kind of receive the same information that we're receiving, ahead of this. So, and then the information on training, we're going to be trained in the system, learning the system, and then developing the implementation guides and training guides for the trainers all at the same time. So, lot to happen in the next few months. So again, the highlight in yellow are the things that have changed on this slide from presenting this information the past few months. The things in yellow are changed, just running over onboarding, they're looking at the new onboarding module, some basic like videos or presentations that people would click through. That's a second phase of the development that will be what rolls out in January. We'll have implementation of what's called prerequisites. So it's kind of like these dip movements through the onboarding process. Say, once someone completes this part of the process, then they move to the next part, and that'll automatically be done in the system. There's a development implementation of what's called a work module. So a bunch of these things that we're getting to the system are new pieces. We've been considering the system for 10 years, and these are new features that they've developed over the past 10 years that they couldn't point to our system because it was older. So we're kind of rolling over into their new technology and gaining a lot of the new things that they developed with that over the past 10 years. One of the things is any business admin at the local chapter level, they are adding a multi-factor authentication to it. And so if you are an admin at the local level, you will have to do the multi-factor authentication. And that's through Azure is the kind of the base of it. And they're talking about Google email address or Google address as a part of that process. So we don't have all of the information on that yet. Just kind of be ready. That is something that will be coming for admins. So not as volunteers, only chapter admins of your system. Other reminders, nothing on this slide has changed from in the past couple months. So we know that opportunity signups are going to be an opt-in versus the opt-out process that they are now. The system is in a complete overhaul. It's redesign and rebuild. We're getting, like I said, we're getting new features and modules that Samaritan has developed over the past 10 years that we couldn't get in our older version of the system. The PMS team has been involved in meetings sometimes twice per week. Now we moved kind of every other week for now. They've been involved in the process. What else? We'll have training set up, I mentioned the training. And then just a basic note that the volunteer reporting experience isn't going to change that much for you. So it's going to be the administrative side. So on the back end side, our administrators that are going to be different. The master nationalist reporting your service on a daily basis, that part of the process isn't going to change much for you. And then we do have this roundtable discussion tomorrow. If anyone would like to attend that, and especially if your VMS admins are here this weekend, encourage them to attend the discussion. And then as we get new information and updates, we're sending all that information out through our VMS admin newsletter, and that goes to admins. I think there was a question before who it goes to, VMS admins. There are some read-only login. The newsletter does not go to the read-onlys. It goes to the main VMS admins. Ours recruiters receive it too. So I thought this was the slides from this meeting last year, and I just, this last one passed. You see that I circled the red. None of this will be taking place for a year. Guess where we're at? We're at a year. So our predictions are right there. So we're right on it. That's according to what I reported last year. So I just thought that was fun. Okay. Then the other thing it's just if y'all could help us improve chapter level with your members. We've been sharing this slide. If you could just kind of help share and instruct how your chapter members should be reporting something, especially if we have a chapter meeting or an advanced training opportunity that is sponsored and put on the chapter. So, how to report that for the day. Detail is important. So as much detail as you can give them to report in when they do report the service, information is important. The agricultural this is something we were talking about. I removed all of our that aren't on the you can get those through the AgriLife Learning Store. That's still a yes.
Suggestion. When you go to the AgriLife, the link sends you to the general store. It doesn't send you to TMN stuff specifically.
Correct.
But then say browse by category, browse by, none of those choices say Texas National Acronyms. It would be nice to have our own category.
Yes, we used to, and then,
I do know that if you go to our website and there's a link that's longer than that takes you to the Master Naturals filter. I don't know how else to get you to just the Master Naturals stuff except through that link. That's how I usually get to it. But just know if you go to the chapter resources tab, merchandise, that link on that page will filter for Master Naturals stuff. That's my little cheat code for that.
so once again, back to our website gets you to all of it. Okay, lesson tonight. Q reports quarterly. These reports quarterly. And the last quarterly report, we're still close to the 800 guys. 702 have been sold as quarter 3, 2024. So we're just to get the rest of our costs back. And so that's for the program. So that could be used rather than sitting at the DOB account right now. Anyone can buy a master naturalist or a TMN license, but if you don't, you can support licensing. So tell you have a registration renewal coming up. This could make a very fun and unique Christmas gift for a master naturalist friend. Just keep that in mind.
I need your registration.
Yeah. Keep the registration information. But you order things first, and then you tell them what card. So if you order things, and then the person would need to go to their, what is it, vehicle company.
You have to order with your registration.
No. No, you give the registration information when you go to. Because usually, like if you have plate front already, you'll have to surrender those, and then new one. And then they take the registration at that time. But you do have to purchase it for RV, trailers, or a car. And that's one thing to know. You can purchase it for your RV, car, trailer. All you have your fleet. Okay. that notification of, the sum of auction proceeds that you have. We have the chapters provided. I recently made a donation to the endowment. One of our naturalists recently passed away, so Jim Stanley, who's really well known, master naturalist from our Hill Country chapter, a donation in his name to honor him to our endowment. You can see for Jim or anyone else in your chapter, any loved one that you want to honor in this way. The endowment is currently up to 76,000, which is a amount of the last quarter. So thank you. There have been some big donations from master naturalists that really pushed us over kind of that 175,000 mark just within the last few weeks. So thank you to those individuals. And just remember that ways to give to the endowment, all of those listed there. QR code will tell you more. Just like that. So those who are giving this year, Catherine, Kathy, Eric Newbar, the Around Chapter, the Southwest Community Foundation, in honor of this camp, Texas Master Naturalist of the Cross Timbers Chapter, and then Laura Keaton from the Hill Country Master Naturalist Chapter. We're big donors this year, or the past quarter. All right, looking. What's
So a lot of our last year, we did a season of thanks campaign, mostly on socials. We're gonna do that again this year. So sometime weeks after this annual meeting, you will get an email with a survey link from me. And you can fill out that survey and we'll create a social campaign with your stories. And what we can focus on this year is our Master Naturalist family. We'd like to try to focus on parents and kids who are all in the program, aunts and nieces, nephews, that blood families, but also if it's that found family, share those stories as well. So that will be coming sometime after this annual meeting. And yeah, keep an eye out for that. And then we mentioned, obviously this is our last quarter. We're starting out the last 3 months of the year. I know many of you are thinking of that end of the year succession plan. If you're a president who is exiting your office, who's going to take your place. Elections are coming up. Just a reminder, as you know, your leadership sets the tone and pace for your chapter for the next year. And then, chapter leadership retreats, those big successful chapters as well. Chapters and boards, chapter boards that are already for the new year. Yeah. And then, December, and then really, don't forget to mark leadership in WMS. That is where of who to contact. That's where we pull information. And who to invite to the president's meetings annually. We will be collecting different officers into different meetings over the next year or so. Hannah mentioned the new question. We'll be having a meeting that will be focused for them, mostly presenting the survey information, pull it together, and we'll be pulling together different and offering virtual meetings for different officer groups throughout the year. So presidents meet monthly. We'll have, I think we were talking about 4, 5, twice a year, Somewhere in there, we're still.
training directors, and so there's opportunities for other officer groups to get together also. But this is where we pull that information. So we can get together and unless the information is marked in VMS. No. Okay. If several chapters said that there. And think about, to include in that agenda, what are your top goals for 2020? What are your chapter goals for 2025? Ask this of each of your individual officers, your board as a whole. Next one. Reminder, take your leadership list and please include your advisors too. So there are listed, and there are a lot of chapters that have full advisors listed. So please make sure that that information is updated. Okay. Chapter advisors again, we do meet once a month. It's the last Tuesday of the month that we meet with presidents and advisors monthly. These meetings just stay for your planning. They're the last, usually last time. We always have this one in October after the National State meeting. We'll hold the meeting via WebEx again. We'll record them. We'll make them available online. And notes if they were taken, and the slides will be available afterwards always. So if you have to miss, they are always available afterwards. One of the things, just to let you know, again, because we get to see you in this intimate setting for the rest of the year, when we have when officers change over at the chapter level, the kind of scan issues tend to show up because it's just changing on your chapter websites, in your chapter list. I don't know why they just do. But just remember that those scam issues do happen to pop up. And the point is just be diligent with your chapter, your board, and your membership that you're not in these ways. You're not get text asking for a gift card, for money to be wired. You're not going to do business asking for money over email. That's stuff that needs to be handled during an official board meeting or through phone call. Okay, and for exiting officers this year and officers next year. We have that. A couple years ago, we did a big update on all of our governing documents, and at that time, all of our 3-year schedule. Next year, is that third year, we will be reviewing over the past 3 years and making a decision on whether the governing documents need to be updated based on the comments. So I say this, exiting officers who are rotating your board, it's important that we capture in these positions over the past year to 2 years. If there are things that would have a change or be different, we collect all of that information through that link there. So there's a form. There's a formal process to submit your information to be reviewed for governing document changes. So we will be taking email. We just can't, like, if you email us, it'll get missed. So that is the process to get your information, questions about governing documents, suggested changes for the governing documents through that online process. Income. Information through about the So as an incoming officer, if there are things that your documents getting ready to take office and in the first few months that you're in office, if there's things that need more definition, again, need changes, you have suggestions for, that is the process to enter your suggestion for review for the update for 2025. So the idea is We are all the feedback that we received and determining whether or not what can and cannot be incorporated. We'll make those edits, compile, and then follow completed documents. That typically happens October, November, December. It is when we have the documents updated, and then they would be expected to be implemented in the new year of 2026. So the documents we are going to operate on through the end of 2025. The changes that we do make in 2025 don't go into effect until January 2026.
Include your citizen science guidelines.
So the question was, does this include science practice? Yes, it will. All right, and then one thing that like on the wall, just not relating. We just have a lot of comments. The real policy update to the marketing and identity brand guidelines, and a lot of you've seen a lot of those updates through piecemeal slides, but we're trying to get that all into one big update on the big document. So that is something that we're working on. So.
Can I have your hotel room key? The name tags are still up in your hotel room, aren't they?
Okay. And
That is not.
Yeah.
That is? Okay. Looks different than.
Right. So this is really the last slide I have today. We have until 2. These are some questions that were sent in from chapter presidents prior to the meeting. So as always, we ask for you to submit questions. You can talk about them on people's side. We've had a couple submitted. So there she is back. Okay. So Hillary chapter a couple of questions, a few questions regarding their they want to ask you practitioners. So with their chapters, typically chapters have about 107 on average projects, opportunities in VMS every day. That's the average. And the chapters asking how you those chapters at a level project level. So they have a question around each chapter project. For each chapter, using metrics to indicate your project health, viability, sustainability. Are any chapters using surveys or metrics to determine satisfaction with the service master naturalists are providing through that project to a partnering organization if it's with a partnering organization? Are there best practices or lessons learned list that's being maintained and not at the state level, but this is the start of all, right? Are there any chapters using your process to fill open project leader positions? No. That's it. Okay. I guess that is the best practice. So, else about that question?
Board level,
We just discussed at the board level how to know if our project are doing a good job, and our leaders, the sign-in sheet or require preserve or horrible when we see signs in this is a situation that's for them legally, or is it for us to know who's there, what's going on, or to check in, make sure that somebody's not being hurt on there. Those is part of the document that came out to discuss how well our projects are really being done.
Yes. Does you are supposed to have a contact, typically as a project leader, or in any of these opportunities listed in VMS. So that's kind of the baseline that we have at the state level. As far as managing projects at the chapter level, VMS sets the baseline and tells you what the project is, where it is, what it's doing. That's where volunteers in your chapter level sign up for it. So there should be no need once you get to the location, like there shouldn't be a need to anyone to sign in a sheet anywhere. Like all that's reported through VMS when they report their service. And if they're signed up, the list is essentially made. Like the list of volunteers that could be working on that opportunity is there in VMS. And you want to mention anything else, Cheryl?
Well, we can go back in time and see how many hours and what that is so far.
So for any opportunity, we can go back in time and VMS and see what the distribution of hours is, how many volunteers work on the project. If there's any kind of history or trend or anything like that, we can certainly do just a lot of data and pull that for any opportunity. Depends on how general the opportunity is versus how granular it is. So then we can even look at the notes and the service reform field and do service on that. It's a really big for
Yeah, so that is one thing we can do with our VMS team. We have that extra reporting. There's the reporting guide. So we can maybe send out some things about reporting in VMS that you can look at for your project opportunities and evaluate. There are some things that we do on examination chapters. So we do an examination of VMS data for your chapters for you on an annual basis. So some of that information may be in the audit examination that we sent your chapter. You just did those.
Been a couple of months, but,
From the summer, right?
it's broad. I mean, and it is, we check all the hours that the chapter did, active hours, active opportunities. And we send a letter to the president and then VMS admins.
But we can also send some, so Cheryl mentioned some of the things that we look at by opportunity for your chapters. So we can send some information on how to pull that information for each opportunity. Your VMS admin would help with that. We can send those kind of metrics and information.
I just wanted to add that we do have some partner organizations that we work with that require or have requested for us to sign in and out when we're on the property, just for safety purposes, but so I think it depends.
There's a question over here.
It wasn't really a question, but for all the different opportunities that we have on the South chapter, we're good. An additional overlay we do is we have liaisons. So there could be a couple of different contacts in different places. Let's say it's the beaches or coastal liaison. That'll be a local person in our chapter that kind of talks to maybe the different park people. So it would be Colorado National Seashore, let's say on the state park, for example, and they have relationships with those park people that we can periodically see, kind of more in an informal way. We haven't done a formalized survey, but kind of a cool idea. So our people don't go into VMS and run reports. So we pull out, here's all your opportunities. Here's a person from our chapter you can talk with as a liaison. And then in certain cases, if there's a clear point of contact, we list that as well. So we do kind of cross check the different sites in a more qualitative manner. But that survey data.
I have a question. be a lot of the city council should, and it was part of somebody when park works. We, every, the shoulders, we clean up the shoulders and things like that on the trees and get out of the water. So we perform those. And so we don't really, anything else, those are really the only time we perform. And, that's the fact, so. Sort of. One of the things, we have this, speaking to Bristol, for example, we do not stand in the city of Bristol. I've been working with the municipal area because that way going to each other's minds. We know what we do, we know what their responsibilities are for, and it's real clear down to the species removal. But if we are specific with our details within the project, so that was pretty good. I would look back to those goals. We get to know other relationships with other cities in our area. And go ahead and actually give Bristol one model for that. Even though cities for what we do, one of my cities living from CC versus things of that nature. So it's very detailed. So I think that helps a lot. There's a little clarity on the chapter. All right, surveys and records, we don't really do that, but we do check. It's usually we I'll do it just check with our partners. How are we doing? Everything okay? Are there any issues? Once it gets called, just see if they're satisfied with some issue that possibly we should address. And we use it as to kind of track whether or not they've been right. So we petering out. One person working it every 6 months, maybe it's not. So that's a pretty good way just to see the vitality.
I have seen also, I can't remember, John, are you still in? Stepped out. He's not, okay. Or Cradle, Texas, a long time. They went through this process of meeting with every in their chapter to just have a in-person meeting with them to say, how's it going? What, and ask them, where do you think these projects are going? That we work with you on, how does it need to change? So they did kind of every few years check-in with their project or their local partners at the chapter level. And that worked really well too. So we actually had one of the volunteers that led that for that chapter, and I'm sorry, this was years ago. They did a presentation at the national annual meeting one year. So I mean, these are types of presentations, like these are things that you're doing at your local chapter level. These are things that could be presented at the annual meeting also. Anything else regarding any other input, questions, follow-up regarding the Liberty chapters project management? Okay, I'm going to move on to that other question that we received. So over the past month or so, we received some questions from chapters. So a lot of projects, all of our outreach, anything that we do with reaching the public, we request that you provide demographics about the public that you're reaching for that opportunity. Typically that is reported by one person, typically the project leader, for that day, for that project. And so one of the difficulties that have been coming up is the process that you have right now is we've been asking a member, one of our volunteer members, actually, to kind of profile on the project. Well, that's not uncomfortable. And I know even as employees, that's the process that we want to have, and that's hard. So one of the things that has come up recently, so you see, like every month during our TMN Tuesday, I share the survey, the demographic survey
as part of our team that she's able, I'm doing that as an employee. So the thought is to do something similar, create a tool that is similar to the QR code for you to use for your project opportunity at your local chapter level. So that would be a survey instrument of your choice. We can provide the information, but that'd be a survey instrument of your choice. It could be Survey Monkey, or whatever you have at your disposal. Make it information that is collected, and then you could use the QR code and ask your attendees at the event to self-provide if they wanted to. You can't make anybody provide that, but self-provide if they wanted to take that survey. So that's something that can be available at your local chapter. I saw her in person on my team.
So in this particular area, I think we've got, a new advisor, who has to do reporting to a number of different entities. And what she's indicating together, she's had some dialogue with you guys, is that what she's getting to the BMS is not complete to them. And so I'm really trying to focus, because we do not want to, it's part of that to get the information initially, to try to do more or form. We would love to see your tool. She's given us another form to use, but we've got to figure out how to get it sufficient so our members do it consistently. So when we watch this, it's very important to us because we've got missed messages from our chapter.
For some situations, that seems fine if they're like in a classroom or something, but when you're reading a guided guide, it's a pretty formal situation. And I'm one of those that feel very awkward about, excuse me, are you? Yeah, really. I don't know that. So I just think there are some situations where it's going to be difficult to learn.
And I can probably speak to that a little bit because it's an advisor issue for us AgriLife extension agents. We're required to report yearly on our impact to the community, and that's one of the metrics we have to report upon. But as an advisor also, I can attest to what Cindy said. We also have the opportunity or the flexibility to, in those situations, like a class situation, or when we go to our balconies to backyards and some other things where we can, where we're using surveys more appropriately, I can get information. I'm not going to require a hide or something that is more laid back, or if you will. So there are some ways to do that for us to do. Yes.
Maybe, I'd like to this chapter, and we, one of the, couple of chapters who we reached out with this particular question, because we are getting a lot of these concerns from profile people. So I think we're going to be taking the same process for Heights Together. We're going to mom, an adult or kid. But I do want to mention that our AgriLife Extension Advisor is going to be making for us a tool with QR code. And then since he makes it for us, I'll share it in case it's helpful for us.
So that was one of the fixes we kind of talked about is the QR code. So, but for the one you've seen it. If I'm doing an presentation, I'll put it up as a slide here. Just ask the participants to take it if they're willing. And then I'm also printed out a piece of paper, a sheet, and then pass that around in the class that day. And just have people, if you can scan the QR code, take the survey if they want to. So, and that's one thing we're talking about, like that is a relationship with your extension agents and as advisors, especially if they think that's demographics they need to collect. I'm working with you on some of the local county agents are using quadrants. And so that is available also. The one survey instrument for multi-purposes. So once you get the information, separately, it can be used in certain ways, like the agent can use it to record their information, but then for whatever data is taken, you have no other way, you still need to get it to VMS, you have no other way to get it into VMS.
The new VMS is gonna ask them to do adult versus child, or still pretty lumped in one.
So, they're recording. It'll be the same. So whatever you're required to report, it needs to be VMS. And it's the same for every reporting process now.
Saw this one first.
Just real quickly, Brian, you have not go out ask a question or any judgments. The question I have, can somebody explain to us why they're having observations or why, what's the value of the data? What is the data do for us as a channel? How can this benefit even speak for us? Because I have an understanding, I have no problem doing it. Is it because we want to reach what represents the state of Texas population? Or sure that we're not overlooking it for the segment of the population? What is it? Not just how. Makes sense?
So it's all of the above. And even like our it's tied to it.
There you go.
Their funding is tied to it, county level, their funding is tied to it. Whether or not we receive increased funding, like they use this information to qualify for additional. Like, we reach this many people in these categories, we need more help or another agent or whatever. In that. Same for us, like
The system use.
very important. And just like, don't you want it? Don't you want it? How successful you are?
Speak first, we are some people can help guide clients. That was part of one of this. How much precision did you get? Anybody can count training that permitted occupations, Spanish, blacks, Asians. We don't need to have precision. For instance, who guest star all that. Well, I don't think there's anything necessarily ask the guest. Do they? Just do it. You know, I think it's a mistake. I for the first time doing this, I just counted people and that's.
Yeah, so things like this, we talk about the trail, the kayak trail, you know, leading people on a river that, like, probably aren't people. But what we're doing in an event and outreach, people are sitting in a room to come to a class that you've organized as an outreach event for your chapter. That's really the opportunity to have that information. It's harder to get it in those type of settings like you're talking about. So, focus on outreach and education events that you do. Kind of what's the category? Something about the category. The direct training, meaning direct outreach. So the impact, things like the trails, the kayaking trails, hiking, that's indirect stuff a little bit. The things where you're actually giving a presentation, providing training, providing education, those are the direct things that we want to be able to gather this. It's easier to gather that information on.
So just real quick, so for the before can chapters, if they feel comfortable with it, just do adult and child? We're still trying to investigate the.
So we're all, the things we are required to obtain are listed in the minutes. Like that part is not changed. And chapters can use whatever survey instrument they want. What we send out the list of things that are required and we do collect them. And the chapters can develop the survey instrument, the tool, the QR code, and do this and help with that. We'll discuss how we can maybe organize something at this level, the state level, and help assist us that we did not get at the local chapter level. So we'll be our next.
So can I just say real quick? Just in this discussion, so just to say, like this last year, the Good Water Master Naturals chapter completed over 15,000 hours, which translates to $500,000 worth of service to our community. And so those are the reasons that we're trying to get the hours numbers in there and the people reached, just so that we can translate that into a dollar amount to give to our elected officials. It just makes a bigger impact on them to explain, to tell the story of what everyone's doing, what y'all are doing in the community and how important it is. That's
Any other questions on that? Okay, what other questions did you promise? So we covered the ones that was pre-sent in.
All right. I'm new to everything. Start with the chapter, but some of the things we're struggling with right now is in our chapter, how do members get a hold of each other? Our communications director decided to have a super secret email contact list that we use to send a weekly and monthly updates on volunteer opportunities to chapters and to kind of help with this problem. I did a Google form where people could self-opt-in to share their email. They're struggling to get a hold of volunteers outside of email blasting them with different opportunities and just people wanting to on future hikes. So we're curious to know what other chapters are doing to help get your members connected with each other, because only 50% of us attend in-person meetings. Rest of them are on Zoom, and we have about 30% that just don't come to our participation. All the different places.
To answer your question from the Coastal Prairie chapter, we started using Slack a few years ago. One same time, reason here for the meeting. Our communication has exploded. It's a wonderful thing. A little harder to get some of the computer, a little bit of community members, but it's providing wonderful. Estimating the trail chapter, we actually use Discord, and the older members are involved in that for the younger members. So that's a fun choice for people, because different channels, people can engage on whatever their interests are, so that's great. We have our email list and our notification people have contact information for all the members there. And then we do sign up changes, and that's a really one way to get people involved in it.
Sign up what?
Yes, and Discord.
Reservoir chapter also uses strategy. We actually have a long meetings list at the beginning. So she just wants to download the PDF file, and so they can just get file and sign up.
Yeah, we all work from the Council Area chapter. We have a members only Facebook page. We have a calendar of all our group activities. Go on that calendar, a lot of information about non-COVID community events. And then on a weekly basis, we have a brief summary of the next week's activities and volunteer service. And it's very brief. And they know the calendar is interested in one of those events.
Okay, I'm gonna jump to one thing really quick, give you a minute to think of more questions. Take roll call, make sure I got everybody that's here. Did I have anybody from our chapter here? So, Cypress Basin. Guadalupe. Okay, I need to see you afterwards. Longleaf Ridge, anyone from Longleaf Ridge? Panhandle? Honeywood Lakes? Fine. Prairie Oaks? Rolling Plains? Sabine Neches? South Plains? South Texas border? South Texas border? Okay, I need to cross you off the list then. Tierra Grande, Tres Pecos, Rio Grande Valley. We established they're either online. Those are okay. What other questions do you have? For each other? And go ahead.
Just by show of hands, I'm curious, we're just approved, the insurance policy, and we're looking at quite present to do it every year, but board is asking me to ask you, how many of you have a registered non-owner liability insurance policy?
Raise your hand.
Do you have a D&O insurance policy? You registered non-insurance liability insurance?
Like to your mouth, it's hard to.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
How many of you have adopted or purchased a directors and officers liability insurance policy?
There you go.
Okay. Thank you. Additional additional liability just for the officers and directors for decision making.
I've got so if you are, it might be something you want to look into. If you are not, then it's, and you're operating under, and you're not your own 501c3, if you're not one, then it would be extra for you. If you are seen as a 501c3, it may be something you want to look into further. So we have a one-pager on that, but we can give you more information. Yes, yes, yes. So if you are not your nonprofit organization, you are your own. You have like, you've gone and established a nonprofit organization for yourself, your chapter. You want to look into it. If you are a nonprofit, you've not established a nonprofit, what our state level work covers you. Okay. And then we're going to go.
For the chapters, you have office for information.
So the question was for those that have insurance, what do you think? What's your ballpark figure to be?
$895, but it includes an EPL.
$895. It's cheap.
Sorry, $895, but it would be, I think, about $695 if it was just straight D&O and EPL.
And EPL is what?
Employment practices liability. It was suggested that you have it. It's not, so it's also for nonprofits if you are volunteers that might, claim discriminatory practices.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's for $1 million Michelle.
That was for $1 million. That's something you just said. If we are a 501c3 corporation,
You might.
we have it. Are we still covered by the state?
If you're your own 501c3, you're not covered by the state.
Really? I have something to report.
When you say we're not covered, we as members are, but just not the director.
Correct, your directors and officers are. So as member. So the state carries there's two different things we're talking about right now. So the state carries, our organization carries a volunteer excess insurance for our volunteers when you are doing service on our projects that are in the VMS. So when you're acting as a volunteer for our program, our organization, and that project has been reviewed, approved, and it's set up in VMS, you are a covered volunteer in our organization. Again, this is excess insurance. This would be something that kicks in if you get hurt, you hurt somebody else, and your personal insurance doesn't cover it, or its limits haven't met. The other thing we're talking about is director and officer insurance. So do you know liability insurance? If your chapter that says it is a designated nonprofit, you might want to look into that. Our state organization does not cover you when you come to set up as a nonprofit. If you are not set up as a nonprofit, our state organization covers you. You're covered under us because you haven't wanted to establish another organization, a different organization, to put it plain and simple. Yes.
So sorry, I'm still confused. If we are our own 501(c)(3), are our volunteers covered while we're working on a project that's in the VMS?
So, regardless of how your chapter is set up, whether you are your own 501(c)(3) or not, your volunteers are covered when your project is pre-approved, reviewed, chapter, and set up in VMS. You're covered by the liability insurance that for volunteers working in the scope of their service. We do not have director and officer insurance at the state level. As a director, if you're not, if your chapter is not set up 501(c)(3), as a director and officer of your chapter, you are in the scope of your volunteer service for the state Match program. When you are a chapter with a nonprofit organization set up, our stuff, that's a case. So our stuff doesn't cover director and officer insurance. We cover our volunteers working in the scope of their service options of the program. Okay.
I'm going to change that. So, I'm going to change that.
Okay, I'm going to ask about a lot of these on your updating on our webpage are and the regulars, and options that are out there. And I'm noticing that a lot of you have a donation page on your webpage where folks can click and donate. And so my question is, notice that there's a lot of different ways people are doing this. And so in our chapter, we did some research and we found a company that provides that as a free service to nonprofit 501(c)(3)s, and it's called Zephy. And we're just wondering what kind of, sent actually a request into the state to ask to make sure I had my T's crossed and I's dotted. We want to put a link, so people could donate with this Zephy organization, because it doesn't cost us any money to have that. If they don't charge the donating person any money. And so we thought it was a good deal, and somebody else put eyes on it before we implemented. So any feedback on what you use or have successfully used to have donations on your page?
I've just heard about service before. I have seen Hill Country Chapter a Amazon Smiles account where you can get going through Amazon sales. What other chapters who are collecting
applications or even like registration, fees, if you're doing it online. So, yeah. PayPal is popular. Square. Okay, and there's a button you can add online. Okay. So PayPal and Square are the popular ones in the room to pay up. Safe, secure, heard of, tested. Yeah, existing. What else?
So one of the things that came up was had actually not chapter member that well, decided to wanted to make a donation to their corporate donation site. They used a company called Benevolent in. So we went and set that up. They could do that. Substantial donation to the chapter. We're waiting to see if the company. But if you've got requests like that, those kind of things are really just. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to mention to that as well. We got a grant, which, Whole Foods was a company that project a couple years ago. They required us to have to go through the review process, establish that we're at legit 501c3, and then everything where we have to recertify. And it's really better benefit down there. And this year we've had several $100s in donations, and I have no idea where they come from. But we got donations, people donating, seeing our profile on Redemption. And it doesn't, they take a small fee, but it seems to be worthwhile.
There are, with the human system, I have their corporate employers will match. So if they're a master naturalist and they give service, their corporate employer may do a match donation equivalent to their service, match their chapter, or we have them go through the endowment. That's an option as well. So that's kind of like a sub account there. So corporate employers are things that I've heard. Do you have related to this? This maybe just specific to Austin. Sorry. But we just signed up for I Live Here, I Give Here, so there might be similar things in other cities, and so that's where like anybody can donate to you, you get free advertisement on media codes, they send you a packet of ways to advertise yourself. There's like twice a year big fundraisers where your name gets out there, and they do free training, so board members and things like that, so that's pretty cool. Widespread.
Yeah, there's the North Getting Day is another one that's funds.
Still involved in it's the first is this chapter in procedure at several charitable, all charitable contributions that people can make from their tax deductions. But we need to somehow taxpayer donors know that's they give. Has anybody set up something like that for your chapter? We're organizing so and share find out.
That's one of the reasons, I've looked at the ZEPI thing that I'm looking at. It's a Canadian company.
And for every receipt that you get, whether it's cash, check, debit or credit card, then you provide the tax receipt to that automatically, plus a customized thank you letter to the donor. And so, at the end of the year, you have received also that have, the donations were made, you made them, and that was sent. So that's one of the reasons I'm looking at this. And no fee, they don't charge a fee. They offer, each time anybody makes a donation, they offer them the opportunity to donate to, this company, Zeppi, and so that's been, instead of taking a percentage of the donation. So that was a big thing to me because, you get a lot of $20 or $30 small donations and giving up almost 5% each time, that adds up quickly. So.
Yeah.
CEFFY.
Thank you.
And take a look at it.
Real quick. Just not real responsible, but I just feel all the other side is the corporate. And what that means. What it does for big corporations, if it's a third party, we get out of it, we move around the spare. We get out of all of that. By that company that receive these anonymous donations, we don't get we didn't get calls back because everybody showed that thing. So there's a line against the police for whenever you take over as absolves the bigger corporation. And they were all based 10 to 20. So you look at the different things. It's got to figure out.
What other questions do you have?
What are the questions you have about your colleagues in the room?
Christina?
Sit you out of this?
Yes.
Lower. We had for about 3 short months from the extension and the piece of the job itself. CPWD staff, agriculture agents to get involved in your organization and become more involved in the Texas African community.
Well, and your advisor, you can speak to that.
So I would say for me, what worked, and you do have a new agent there, that's in District 8, that's my home district for AgriLife Extension. Wayne Roden, who some of you may know or have known, came into my office the first week when I showed up, introduced himself, told me how excited he was for me to be there and exactly what I needed to do to support him. He became a super friend and a great mentor to me. So I think it's just those that relationship building and letting that person know that you want them to be there. I was telling them he invited me to the first, I didn't know what the Master Naturalist were when I started. Most of us probably don't. And so when he approached me and invited me to the first meeting, and I was welcomed with super open arms and thrown out in front of everyone to introduce myself and speak to the whole chapter. I think building that relationship, that first step really meant a lot. And then he encouraged me to take the class 6 months or a year later. So I think it's just making yourself available to that person and letting them know what you need from them.
And letting them know
that they don't have to work, right?
Yes.
With the Master Pastor,
Yes.
that leads that agent.
And I will reach out to that person for you, how's that too?
I will reach out to that person for you too.
And also, not all chapters have super active advisors. So,
So Stan, from your perspective, as a part-time employee.
sure. So, well, I do a mystery, so that part of I'm already not feel so I can get out. So, I'm the master chapter. We've got 2 advisors in that chapter as well. So, I would suggest just that reaching out to them. I think each county has a advisor. That's good advice.
So
And call stay on the staff to help get those people identified. So staff changeover, And that's something that we can help with is when you lose an advisor to move or something like that. Contact us, we can help identify who's in that area now or coming up or will be when the position is rehired back. And we can help you get them connected. The beauty of our master practice chapters is that a lot of them are just one county. So there are there's an opportunity there for chapter advisors from not just the one county that you're in, but surrounding counties as well. For those of you that are multi-county. Did you have something? Okay. It's 2:00. And we have another session in here, the Friends of Developing Friends of Nationalist Group is in this room next. Again, they're having a session at 2 and just another one at 3. We'd love for you to come. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Can I ask a technical question? So I had a question about record retention. So when I took over in April. Oh, sorry. So there, we did hear a record retention. Yeah, the list in there. It just says, correct, yeah, that's, it's paper form, it's not in digital form yet. Setting up or PDF. Yeah, all right, thank you.